You can leave if you want. That's funny.
All right, there we go. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Scott, how's it going?
Fine, you?
Pretty good. You seem to have started following your son on Twitter, David, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's my.
He's a good follow.
Yeah. He keeps it pretty lively. Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, he's good.
I will be back in just 1 second.
Okay.
I was just going to say we need one more member, and Guy just signed on.
Awesome.
And Helene.
All right, it's 7 o'clock. I guess we can call the meeting to order.
All right, roll call. Chair Amy Wilson,
Present.
Vice Chair Marie Hoda,
Here.
Bryn Dunning has not signed on, Helene Federici,
Present.
Scott Gilbert,
Present.
Guy Mason,
Here.
Andy Sakaris.
Present.
We have Inglewood Schools Liaison Jen Hubbard.
Present.
Excused, we have Austin Stryker and Sarah Harkness. Staff, we have Director Christina Underhill, Library and Cultural Arts Manager Mark Mullis, and we have Teen Services Associate Kareen Barnett. Right.
Great.
Okay, approval of minutes.
Well, there's no big surprises in it, so I move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay, what do we have next on the agenda? All right, statistical report. Oh, public comment? There's no public, so there's no public comment.
If you don't mind, for the benefit of our staff member Corinne, who's here presenting tonight, we were going to shuffle the order a bit and do the teen space presentation first before the statistical report. Is that okay?
Yep.
Fine by
Cool.
me.
Definitely. Oh, and
Wonderful.
Bryn's here now. Debbie.
Oh,
Got her. Thank you. Corinne, did you have anything to share?
I have a couple of photos, but I know that you also got some of the teen room. So I just have some of actually teens in the room. I know that you have some that are of the space, but I do have a couple of them actually using it. So yeah.
Okay. You're a co-host, so you can share screen.
Okay,
Cool.
thank you.
So Corinne is here, of course, because the teen space work on that was completed over the last few weeks here. We finished with the painting, put up the furniture in there, some of the decor as well. So she's been able to start hosting teen programs in there. So she's just here to tell you a little bit about that space, what our plans are for it. And so I'll let Corinne take it from here. Thank you so much for being here, Corinne.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Mark. I'm actually sitting in the teen room right now because this is where I now do all of our Zooms with the teens as well. So you can kind of see behind me here is our awesome board, awesome wall that Mark actually hung all of those. So
entirely their idea though.
but he put them in that fancy design for us. And that's just, we're going to be putting up some of their artwork and everything. But I will pull up some of our fun pictures of them when they first walked into the room. What you'll see in here while I'm pulling this all up is a bunch of the kids drawing on the wall because we actually have a full wall in here that is a whiteboard. So that's really cool. A lot of our teens are artists and they really love to draw and they love to write notes to each other on the board and everything. And we'll be putting up some weekly questions to sort of spark conversation and everything. If you guys can see my cursor, this right here, this space is where I'm sitting right now. And it's actually a couple of craft tables with craft carts full of awesome art supplies. We have some fun paper over in the corner. And then in the center here, you can see they've already kind of torn it all apart. It was neatly organized, but they've been sitting on all of these bean bags. We've got 6 bean bags in here, 3 short tables that are the circular ones for them to play games on when it all gets, when we can get back in person a little bit better. On the far wall over here, we'll have 2 computer stations set up for homework and for games so that they can have a safe space where they're kind of separated from the ref area to do that. And then let's see, I've got one more picture. All of them sitting there. We had Miss Ava, she was the first one to really go, okay, I'll go draw on the board. So, but yeah, they have been coming in and volunteering with us this summer. So it's been a really great little break room for them during their volunteer shifts. And a lot of them will come in and hang out afterwards. This big wall here is going to be a place where we project videos, movies and everything for them. So that will be really wonderful too. And we'll probably also use it for children's when we do some of our children's programming. So it's a really versatile space and it's really great because we gave it some fresh, bright colors, got it all painted and everything. And it's just been really exciting. So that is what I have to share. But yes, very excited to have a space for them. There's also, you can kind of see behind me, there's a bookshelf here where they're going to put up their favorite reads. We're going to do some themes with that. They've already sort of started doing that. Just going to be a really fun interactive space for them. And we hope that soon they'll be able to come in and just hang out in here as much as they want. So, yeah.
The large white wall that Corinne is facing, as you saw from the previous picture, is one that we can project onto. We got a new projector for use in that space. Really nice short throw HD projector. They also they picked up a Nintendo Switch, so they might have some gaming programs in there as well. So yeah, they got some cool stuff lined up.
Yes, we're really excited, and we're especially excited to get back in. We have a Dungeons and Dragons group, and they are very, very thrilled to come in and finally start doing that in person. We're hoping to do that by the end of summer, so that will be good. We're going to have lots of it'll just be a good space for us to be kind of away from all the stuff going on in the library and be able to get a little noisy and things like that. So it's going to be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It looks really good.
Yeah,
looks good.
I'm glad to see the whiteboard because when I first saw the room, I thought, well, there's got to be something on the walls, right? But so now there is.
Yeah, we're working on getting some more art to put on the walls because we definitely have several blank walls. The only thing we can really find right now is stuff similar to the cat that says like hang in there and it's hanging on the branch. And we want to try and find something that's, you know, a little more hip for the kids. We don't want it to look like another classroom for them. So we've been sort of asking them what they want. And we have, like I said, several artists. We might even be asking for some permanent pieces from them if they're interested in giving those to us, because we really want it to be their space. And we have a very cool clock that's anime. I have no idea what the anime is, but the
Oh,
kids
nice.
love it.
Yeah.
And we're going to be putting it up. So there's going to be a lot more pieces going on the walls soon. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Mhm.
Well, great.
Yeah. So
I'm really glad to see that. I really am.
me too, because honestly, I was like, we need to get it done. And I'm just so
Yeah.
glad that it finally happened. So yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they are, I mean, they'll never tell you, they'll never admit it, but they're excited too.
Yeah.
You know, if they go in someplace and you know, mope, then you know that they're happy to be there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes.
Nice.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, well,
I
Any
don't have any
questions?
more questions at the moment.
yeah.
Thanks,
But
Corinne.
yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you all
Thank
so
you, Corinne.
much. Yes, and we'll see you in the library, I'm sure. So,
Okay,
bye.
Have a good night. Yep. Cool. All right. So back to regular scheduled programming. We have let's see here. Okay. Statistical report this month would reflect the May 20 to May 21 contrast. Will of course be May 20 was very closed down to COVID, so there's be some unusual numbers on that side of things. And then May 21, this current month's numbers are going to be a bit weird because May 24th, of course, was the day we reopened to our normal hours. So we don't yet have a full month of data on our normal hours. But as you can see, those physical visitor numbers back up to, are really coming back up. We're starting to see more circulation traffic, especially in terms of the physical items. And the thing that I'm continuing to look at month to month that I'm really interested in is seeing how that digital circulation compares to the peak of the pandemic when everything shifted over to digital and we saw a big spike. And we know we're not quite where we were last year, but I think we're pretty happy with those numbers being where they are. That with the fact that we've been able to retain that level of usage is really good. And anecdotally, we're seeing a lot of people come into the library. Just today, I had somebody come in who's from another library district who was talking about how they use Denver, they use Jeffco, but they like to use us for a lot of the digital services because shorter hold lists, wide access to materials. So feel really good about that. Our children's programming numbers are moving back in the right direction. That's going to see a big spike next month because we're back underway with summer reading. The young adult numbers reflect those programs that Corinne's running. That's that core group. Adult services numbers, that's going to be our real area of growth, I'm hoping, over the next few cycles here. I am working with Michelle Branstad, our adult services librarian, to kind of plan out what the future of adult programming is going to look like. We really lost that audience during the pandemic, and we're going to have to put in some work to get it back. So any questions about anything here in the statistical report?
What kind of things might you do to bring the adult numbers back?
Well, I think we've tried some things like the virtual trivia nights, that sort of thing that's targeting more of a 20 to 30 something demographic. We think there's a lot of area of potential growth with that, but they weren't connecting virtually. I think that age group is probably pretty inundated virtually. So we're hoping to come up with some programs that serve their interest. We haven't done computer classes since I started back in April 2020 because we were shut down through the pandemic. They tried to move some of those online. That didn't work. So we'll definitely be reintroducing computer classes, and we're looking to introduce some new computer classes along the way. The book clubs are back, and those are doing okay. And then we're looking to just start some partnerships that can be spun into programs. So, for example, one thing that they've got going on is they're working with somebody named Dana, who's over in the Parks Department. And Dana is sort of a apiarian, is that the word? The beekeeper. They work with pollinators. So we're doing a program around pollinators. We're trying to find some interesting community partnerships to build programs around. But it's all still pretty early days. We're Michelle and Megan, the other supervisor who runs the sort of daily operations, and I are all pretty focused on getting staff up to speed, just in daily operations still. It's a big change for some of our people who've never had to have the library open continuously throughout the day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I think there's an audience to bring in, like the adults in the age range you're talking about. And I mean, this is pretty much the definition of anecdotal, but just looking at people who are introducing themselves on Nextdoor around the neighborhood, and watching the city council interviews with board and commission applicants. I mean, I think the bulk of them were younger adults who had just moved here and want to get involved with the city. It was quite heartening.
That's really cool to hear. Yeah, that demographic is traditionally sort of the libraries, we call them the lost years, because it's after they're done, they graduate from high school, they go off to college, they don't come back to the library until after they have kids. So
Yeah.
anything we could do to try to connect to that is pure growth for the library.
Sure.
Does Inglewood as a city do anything for new move-ins? I know when I moved here, I didn't get any information besides getting I think it's the newsletter or the magazine.
They just started a welcome packet.
Okay. Do we have information in
Depending
that?
on like which area of Inglewood you live in too. Like
Yeah.
certain neighborhoods have like people designated, but I think other areas of Inglewood don't.
Yeah, I think you have to ask to get a welcome packet for your neighbor. So that means you have to know that you have that option. And I know we talked a few months ago, I think, about putting Inglewood promotional materials in that, or the library promotional materials in that, but I don't know if there was follow through on that. They did a video online and I didn't see the library featured.
Let me ask
Mark, do you
communications
know?
where, I don't know. Let me ask communications where that's at. I haven't seen the welcome packet. So yeah, I'd be
Okay.
happy to follow up on that.
A lot about the library and those TikToks.
Yeah, they're really trying on the
They
social
are,
media,
yeah. Yeah, that's right.
I don't know how big their reach is.
I don't know how big the reach is either, but I appreciate the enthusiasm and I appreciate them going there for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does our agency have a Nextdoor? I know I'm just speaking from the clerk and recorders in Denver. I know our agency has our own quote unquote Nextdoor, so we can post citywide. Does the library have its own?
My understanding is the library cannot have its own, that it has to be through the city of Inglewood. I can't remember why that is, but I believe that has to do with the way Nextdoor is structured. We had wanted to, and I'm thinking back to when I was with the library in 2017 and 18, but we had tried to get a Nextdoor going and we were blocked from doing so.
We may want to ask the city comms team, because I know I'm just speaking from experience at the city and county of Denver, but a lot of our agencies have their own.
Okay.
And so it's how they're
It's
doing.
yeah, it's very possible that Nextdoor has sort of loosened their restrictions on who is allowed to participate in your sense.
I'm definitely not a Nextdoor person. I don't need people yelling about grass and parking and all the things that happen on Nextdoor, but it's active with a certain amount of people for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, if we can get on there, that'd be great, because I do think, like you said, the people who use it certainly use it, and I think that they overlap with library users.
Well, it'd be nice to see something positive on Nextdoor too. So there's that.
Absolutely. Thanks, Debbie. Moving through the action plan, we'll talk about some of the things that were alluded to in the statistics, but like normal operating hours returned May 24th. Meeting rooms and study rooms are accessible. Dropping the masks was a really interesting moment for us. Along with everybody else, that the series of recommendations came very quickly. And so the city had to take a couple of days and process everything we were hearing from the state, from Tri-County, and react, and ended up concluding that it really was just the right thing to do to just go ahead and move to having them be effectively optional. So if you go in the library now, you'll see signage to the effect of masks are welcome inside government offices. The language of master welcome, I think, is a good one, because it says that, you know, we are certainly not going to discourage people from wearing them, but we're not effectively requiring it by saying they're strongly recommended or something like that. Some of the other phrases that I heard discussed. So it took a week or two as people kind of warmed up to that, but now I'm seeing probably most of the people coming into the library are no longer wearing them. It's just been an interesting change. And I know it's been a really welcome one for our security staff and our other associates who are having to do a lot of mask enforcement. And it was creating just a lot of friction with our patrons, because it was a lot of things like the mask below the nose, we'd intervene and say something and get pushback. And so in general, that is, I don't think it's decreased the safety. I mean, everyone has had a chance to be vaccinated who wants one, who's above the age of 18. And we are seeing that we're having fewer conflicts with our patrons as a result of all that. Now, the social distancing requirements being dropped, that was really beneficial to us because it allowed us to provide full access to the public computers again. So now we're seeing a really heavy usage at those public computers since all 20 are back available. And we've also dropped the restriction on how long your session can be. So, you know, during the last few months, it was 1 hour sessions at the computers, because we were really trying to keep that strict schedule where we were cleaning, we didn't have that many computers available to people due to social distancing requirements. Well, now people can be on the computers as long as they want. We're not ending the sessions as long as there's not a queue of people waiting to get on the computers. And that's been really, really welcome. I think our patrons greatly appreciate that. People who have much more time-intensive things that they're working on, such as unemployment applications, that's been a real game changer for them.
How has the masking, have you noticed? I mean, I know it's kind of too soon to even notice, but has there been any questioning, pushback from parents? That's my, like, for me, I feel like I can't bring my kids places now because they can't be vaccinated. So I'm just curious if
I haven't received any feedback from the public.
Okay.
Most of the parents I see who bring their kids in, it's a mix of masked and unmasked kids. But yeah, we haven't received any comments.
Okay, cool.
Mark, I have a question. It seems like all the policies are back to normal. Is there any pandemic related policy or COVID related policy still in place?
We have not yet started collecting money again, but that will change as of next week. We're still disinfecting the computers at the start of the day. Most things have returned. We haven't put out 100% of the furniture yet, and we have made some long-term changes to the library, but nothing that I'd say is directly a result of COVID.
What about quarantining books? I know you were doing that for a period.
Those are, we are no longer quarantining materials.
Okay, awesome.
Yep. Yeah, it's largely back to normal. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So for just promotion, a couple of things that were, our big promotional push right now was summer reading program. We're seeing really good numbers on that, tracking ahead to where we were last year, of course, and comparable to what we would be seeing back in 2019, 2018. And so, we did a push with that with Englewood schools, and of course, just generally promoting summer reading is always a thing we're actively doing this time of year. And then we have the Kids Stage concerts coming in July. And so we're working with communications department for promotion for that, and really trying for those big events to be using the communications department, since they have expertise in social media promotion and traditional promotions that we just lack in-house. So that's where we're at with that. Okay, big projects that are going on in the library right now, or soon will be, in addition to painting the teen space, the Altenbach room, that's now the teen space, we are going to be doing a repainting of the full library floor. We're going to try to pick some more modern colors, some new accent colors, redo some of the art on the walls. And that should be taking place over the next few months. There will be staged closures of sections of the library as that project proceeds. And then we're also picking carpet to match, although we'd hoped to be able to do both of those projects this year. The most recent that I've heard is that the carpet bids came in very, very high. And so those are going to have to wait until possibly next year. We're not exactly sure. That may be something that we need to do a capital request for. Christina might know more about that, but I don't know if she knows more about that right now. So I'm not going to put her on the spot. We're working on the painting first, and then we'll reevaluate carpet after.
Is carpeting running into like supply chain disruptions like things tend to do these days? Hard to
Couldn't
know.
tell you.
Yeah.
I just know that.
Yeah.
I just know the facilities team was surprised by how high the bid came back. Or bids, plural. Yeah, so homebound deliveries is something that we've been really the last few months been getting those going again. And we're seeing an increase in usage on homebound deliveries, as well as we're delivering some craft projects. This is still in its infancy. We're just working with some of our current users, so we're not promoting it widely. But it's something that a few of our staff are really passionate about, is making delivering quality services to people who can't come to the library. Things to for sort of active intellectual engagement. So we're happy to be doing that. Local history. We have a couple of different things going on the local history front. We met with Englewood Historic Preservation Society, and we talked through converting the Nook into sort of a local history space inside the library, and they seemed very interested in that idea about using that big bay window across from Sherilyn for displays. Sometimes it'll be the library's displays, and sometimes we're going to have EHPS participate in helping to plan and build those displays. And so we're really happy about that, because they had previously been using the window right outside of the Altenbach room, which I think I've mentioned this about the last meeting. That was the teens, it's the teen space now. Makes sense for that window to be used to display the teens art. So we have a really good alternative space for local history. The other thing that happened over these last month and a half now is that we're seeing a real uptick in requests of public who have questions about local history matters and are interested in accessing the archive or having us do research on their behalf in the archive. And so that's been really fun for the subset of staff that we have who are kind of passionate about archive work. And so we're able to start fielding some of those questions and getting answers to people. So I'm really excited about that, because that has been a archive that has been somewhat unknown to the public. It's never been something that people in the larger community have been able to access, at least not for some time now. So good to see that being used.
Mark, we lost you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah,
I'm very much here. Okay, great. Sorry about that. I was wondering, my feed wasn't updating either. Okay. We received the Greater Englewood Chamber of Commerce Award for Organization of the Year 2019. Michelle Brandstetter had helped to organize our nomination there. This was, of course, prior to the pandemic, and the ceremony was delayed for a year due to the pandemic. And we're really proud of this recognition. We've been talking to all the people, the staff who were present at the time, and they're certainly proud as well. So a big thanks to Michelle for not only being instrumental in us receiving that recognition, but also being at the ceremony to be the one to receive the award. So pretty cool stuff. And thanks to the Englewood Chamber of Commerce for recognizing us. And we're really proud to be in the best of all possible company, because the Organization of the Year 2020 was Tri-County Health Department. And I think that they did about as much for the community as anybody possibly could. So, we're right up there too. So. And of course, we talked about the teen space. Yeah, and one other thing I want to mention from Children's Services is that Englewood Public Schools, of course, has their summer program. They reached out to Kimberly to see if we could provide books for the classes there. School libraries not being accessible during the summer months. And so as Kimberly has worked with them, brought them hundreds of titles. And I think that that's been really welcome. And of course, we set up story times in the park again for the summer months. That was one of those things. Helene, you asked about things from the COVID era that we're continuing forward. Story times in the park, very much one of them, as well as some of the virtual story times. And then the Children's Services team has had to pivot a little bit for their summer reading. A lot of those programs were planned to take place in the community room. And on the second floor of the building, that is not going to be accessible due to the city council going. They have a continued need for space, and they're going to be using that room. So we've moved our summer reading programs into the library. They'll be taking place in the 2 meeting rooms that we have still, Anderson and Perrin. So sometimes those programs will be split across those rooms. So the Children's Services team has been very busy kind of reconceptualizing some of how summer reading is going to work, and they've done so really well. The Wednesday performers are moving upstairs into Hamden Hall. And so you may have already attended one of those programs. And overall, I'm really pleased they were able to kind of roll with this pretty big last minute change, and really grateful to them. And we're really happy to make it so that by not requiring the community room for our needs, city council is able to use it to run their meetings, which are going to be hybrid, where they can meet in person and also do virtual meetings for people who can't attend in person.
All right, next, we did new business already, update on team services. So old business, return to in-person meetings. We said last month we were gonna hear what Councilman Cuesta was gonna say, but I don't think he's here tonight, is he? Did anyone hear what happened with going back to city council meetings, or they were talking about doing them in person? We didn't want to go back before them.
Yeah,
Right. Go on, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so they are back in person. They're doing a hybrid, but they're having to pay for that. And so boards and commissions won't necessarily be able to easily do hybrids where some people can be at home and some in person. So it's up to you if you want to come back in person, or if you'd like to stay virtual for a while longer, or if you want to do quarterly meetings in person and the rest is virtual. We'll have the virtual option for a while. So it's up to this board to decide what you guys want to do next.
Any suggestions? I guess I don't mind meeting online, but I also don't mind going to the library.
That's where I am too.
I love the idea of quarterly meetings. How do the other board members feel about that?
I would very much like to go back to in person. I know Bryn said July is not good for her because she's having a baby.
Oh.
And I mean, if there's travel or whatever in July, maybe we just wait till the fall when, I don't know.
So why don't we do our September meeting in person?
I would like that.
Do we need to vote on that, or do we just declare it? I don't really know.
Debbie?
I think we would vote on it.
Okay.
Try my parliamentary procedures in my brain. I think we vote on it.
It is probably good to vote so everybody has a yes, or we'll know where everybody stands. So I would say just take a quick vote. Do you want to go back to in person?
Just on September, or are we going to even consider like an alternating plan?
What was that?
Is this vote just for September, or is this vote to go back 100% starting in September? Because I'd like to at least consider some type of alternation.
I say quarterly right now. Let's say quarterly in person, the other 2 at home. That's what I'm proposing.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I wonder, I mean, would it be an option to just like, what if we just voted on whether or not to meet in September in person, and then see how that goes, and then decide moving forward?
I like that idea.
September.
Okay, let's say that. So it's just to meet in September, and then we'll bring it up there again. How's that sound? When we're all in person, we can finally meet some of you guys in person.
I like that idea too, because we don't have much attendance tonight. We're just over quorum, and I'd like to make sure, I mean, I'm ready to just go back full
I
time,
am too.
but I would like to make sure that we get a more, more input from everyone.
Okay.
So
So all in favor of meeting in September and deciding future meetings at that point? Aye.
I
Anyone opposed?
did we
Okay.
need a second on that motion, or was Scott the second
Oh.
on that motion?
I'll second it.
Some.
Sorry, I'm still learning this thing. I get them out of order all the time.
You're good. Thank you.
Okay, so then the next thing is a future capital project for the library.
So we're going to keep this topic on every agenda. So if anybody has a really great idea for a capital project, we'll add it. So right now we potentially have carpet that will be added to the list, and staff suggestion of a play structure of some sort for the children's area as the other. So I'll just put the question out there. Does anybody have any ideas for capital projects the library could implement in 2023? We'd be proposing these capital projects this time next year.
And a capital project means something that's tangible, that is lasting, correct?
Correct. Typically 10 years or more is the time frame for a capital project.
I had asked last time about digital assets being considered capital projects. Do we know yet if that's?
I don't think they are. However, we did ask. I haven't heard back from the IT department or legal either. We just had new lawyers start this week, so we'll find out. I'll put that on the list just tentatively until we get an answer.
I would put, if it were the case, I would say that by 2023, it might be a good time to consider how an app could enhance the library's outreach to community. I did look and see there's just a lot of library apps out there. So I don't know what the cost is, but I think that it might be within reach just because they're already pre-built and they have like varying features. So it might be a good investment depending on where the library's at with wanting to reach out to the community through digital at that time.
Sure. Yeah. A lot changes with technology and a lot will probably be different in 2023. So good idea. Keep an eye on it.
I think in tying to the digital assets, is there technology infrastructure? I know the building is potentially, looking with the whole master plan of the area, but is there a technology infrastructure that you want to sort of pre-build if it's, higher speed, infrastructure or anything like that? And then, everyone's on an environmental kick. I don't know if the library is covered in solar or not, but if that would be considered an infrastructure project as well.
Yeah, so there's library in the building, or there's solar on the building. I don't know what that all powers, but so that's it. But yeah, if a new building were to come into play here on the library moves, that's definitely something to look at as far as like high-speed internet and fiber network and all that. That is something our IT department would manage and have as a capital project for them, but we can make that suggestion as well.
And then the other one that just comes to mind is I'm seeing a lot of libraries are getting things like 3D printers and, vinyl cutters and laser cutters and things. And I think, well, I know those change and may not last 10 years, but there's a lot of tables and, different type of infrastructure items that potentially could be included in that. And I would really like to see us move in that direction, not only with our sort of podcasting center, but how do we sort of become I'm not going to say a craft center because that doesn't, but like a 3D printer center and, a laser etcher and like some of those things that people, I think of the sort of lost generation would return for pretty easily.
Sure. Yeah. At a previous library that had makerspace that had all of that. Yeah, exactly. So that could be something we would present this. I'll put it down on the list and that's something our finance department, IT will look at and say, yes, that's a capital, or no, that's not. I know for the makerspace I had previously, everything was grant funded. We purchased through grants because we didn't have the funding to do it otherwise. And they were used. However, I have to say some of the items didn't last even a year just because of the use and people's lack of knowledge on how to use them and all of that. So there are some challenges, but I don't disagree that we shouldn't look at moving in that direction. I think it's an asset to the library and to the community. Good. Anyone else have any ideas?
I just want to add to that since maker spaces were brought up, that some of the apps I saw had the ability to send 3D files to library 3D printers like through the app and have the printing process like initiated. And then they like go to the library for pickup. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll keep this on the list. Again, dream big, and then we'll narrow it down when we're told we have no money to buy anything. But look, yeah, just think about, look at other libraries, see what they've got, bring your ideas, and each month we'll just have a brief discussion about it. So thank you.
There's one quick other thing. Is there any, I know we sort of blend the line of community service and library. Are there any health related items that you would need? Defibrillators or, you know, anything like that that would be covered under that type of stuff? I know that I don't ever expect library staff to like be, you know, trained healthcare workers, but I know Denver deals with it more than probably we do, but that may be something to consider.
And that is good. And our facilities department handles all those types of items to make sure the facilities are stocked when needed. So
we do have an AED.
Okay.
All right. Anything left for staff's choice?
I've got just a few items. Mark, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, thank you.
Okay. Just a reminder, the volunteer recognition event is happening tomorrow night, Wednesday night at Pirates Cove, 6:30. You've all been invited. You can bring guests with you too. If you got the link, please RSVP because they're getting food and they want to make sure to have enough for everyone that shows up. The Maui Recreation Center is still offering Pfizer vaccine for 12 and up on Thursdays from 9 to 3. So that's an option. And then daily at the library, we're also having the lunch program going on outside in the lobby from 11:30 to 12:30. It's a free lunch program for youth. So feel free to stop by the library and grab and go with a lunch. And then what I'm excited about is everything is open again. COVID's lifted and Farm and Train is fully open at Bellevue Park. Pirates Cove is fully open, no restrictions in place. So, you know, get there in the morning when it's cooler for Farm and Train. We've had a successful second week. The first week was a little iffy with the weather and rain and cold temperatures. Like I've heard in years past, it's been that way for Pirates Cove. It's practically snowing out, yet there's a few kids in the water.
It is hopping at the train and the farm.
Yeah, it's been busy. And the farm did a great job of getting animals this year. I was really excited to see everything they got. So if you get a chance to go by there, go check them out. So it's $2.50 to enter the farm, or for a train ride, it's the same price. So it's a good deal. It's fun entertainment. So that's all I've got. Thanks.
Isn't Volunteer Appreciation Thursday?
Is it Thursday? Oh, sorry. Yes, it is. I apologize. It is Thursday, not tomorrow night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, my calendar's right.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
All right. Jen, do you have a school update?
Not really, because school is out. School is all done. We had outdoor graduations. We had one, the afternoon finest graduation cut a little short because of lightning and rain. And then the cosmetology graduation was actually held indoors in the auditorium because of weather and that sort of a thing. Summer school is in full swing. I think it either ends this week, the official summer school, either this week or next week. It's a pretty short summer school. And then, you know, everybody's going to get a little break before everybody's back. Principals and such are back trying to plan for next year. They're already planning for next year, but the planning never seems to go away, right? So I think that's all we have. It's pretty quiet now that everybody's off for summer break.
Yep.
Board members' choice. Anyone? Tot?
Yeah. I should mow my lawn.
It's too hot for that.
I know. It's
6 inches.
bad.
6 inches.
Yeah. Yeah. Fortunately, my neighbors are tolerant. So
It's only you that suffers when you wait a few extra days.
yeah.
Anyone else?
I had just something else to put on the radar for the library. I don't know if anybody has seen any of the 3D AR sculptures that you can find like in cities, different kind of like graffiti artists or stencil artists. Now they're like AR artists, and like it could be anything, like a big monster climbing the side of a building, but you can only see it when you look at it through your phone. That kind of technology is actually really accessible. There's a lot of great like ways to get it for pretty cheap. You can blow up characters, put messaging around, and I just think it might be a cool thing for the library to do, like maybe get a big 3D AR sculpture for the roundabout, or like put little characters behind books on the bookshelves. Like you can kind of put them anywhere, and it's just, I think it's really interactive. It merges the digital, which we're always kind of pushing for. And I think there's a lot of value, a lot of bang for the buck with placing those kind of digital artifacts around.
I have no idea what that is. Is there any information you could just send to the group about that? Because I have no idea.
Yeah, well, if anybody remembers, it was like revolutionary when Pokemon did it, where you would play a game on your phone. But now people just do that. And like, because it's free, it's like digital, you can make them as big as you want. Like you can have an animation of King Kong climbing a skyscraper, and it's not really there, but when you look through your phone, it's there. So people are having a lot of fun with it, including historians. They're putting up like in intersections, like what the intersection looked like back in history. So you go to that intersection and look through your phone. It's really like, it's kind of gimmicky, but it also is really interactive. And like I said, because basically the files are just 3D computer files, and then there's a technology to place them and scale them. A lot of bang for the buck. You can put, like, if you want to push a book drive campaign, you can advertise it in AR, and people can try and find it, and then they're interacting with the messaging more.
Very cool.
I'll find something to post.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
My lawn just got worse.
Your what?
My lawn just got worse.
In the last minute.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess we'll see you next time. We can adjourn the meeting at 7:44 p.m.
All right. Good night, everyone. It's good to see everyone.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Take care.